For me, a truly great game is one you can't shake from your memory, even years later. If a game's story, world, or characters fade away, it just doesn't make the cut. The 40 games in this list, these are the legends, the titles that leave a lasting mark. This isn't just another ranking, this is a lineup of unforgettable experiences. Let's jump in. Rise of the Tomb Raider made me pause and wonder, am I watching a movie or playing one? This was visual storytelling that seemed impossible on hardware from that era. The lighting system creates these cinematic moments where sun rays cut through ancient ruins, making Lara's face show genuine emotion without a single line of dialogue. Snow particles cling to her jacket and melt realistically. Her animations shift from confident explorer to vulnerable survivor, based purely on the environment around her. You can read Lara's entire emotional journey just by watching how she moves through different spaces. Her posture changes in sacred tombs versus hostile territories. If you love environmental storytelling or want a showcase for modern lighting tech, this is a must-play. This became the visual benchmark every action-adventure game measures itself against. Graphics finally served the story instead of just showing off. But sometimes the boldest visual choices are the ones that make fans absolutely furious.
Look out!
Oh shit!
Wind Waker shocked the gaming world when Nintendo revealed Link's cartoon makeover. Many fans were surprised. Some reacted very negatively when they saw this cel-shaded approach instead of the realistic hero everyone expected. Nintendo made this wild choice when every other company was chasing photorealistic graphics. But here's the thing, they weren't just being different for the sake of it. The cel-shaded style transformed ocean exploration into something magical. Those endless blue waters felt like sailing through a living storybook, with emotional depth through exaggerated expressions and bold color palettes that realistic graphics couldn't match. Want color and charm over photorealism? This is the proof. You can point to Wind Waker's cel-shaded confidence in later titles like Ni no Kuni, and even see its lessons echoed in Breath of the Wild's artistic choices. Those realistic games from the same era now look dated, while Wind Waker still looks stunning today. Speaking of games that still impress, some developers don't just create worlds, they build entire universes with details you'll never even notice. Grand Theft Auto V created Los Santos as a breathing metropolis where every corner holds something new. Rockstar built entire neighborhoods with working shops, detailed interiors, and full NPC routines that most players will never even see. How do you simulate realistic routines without blowing performance out? Rockstar nailed the balance. The NPCs follow daily schedules like real people. They go to work, hang out at bars, argue on street corners. You'll find tiny movie-like moments around corners that make the world feel real, and that's no accident. The three-character system lets you experience Los Santos through completely different lenses. Michael's suburban nightmare, Franklin's hood struggles, Trevor's desert chaos. Same city, totally different worlds. I still get a chill driving into the city at sunrise. This became the blueprint every open-world developer studies. But creating a living world is one thing. Making every conversation in it actually matter is something else entirely. The Witcher 3 proves this point perfectly. Some seemingly small conversations and choices, including apparently throwaway moments, ripple into major outcomes like Ciri's fate at the end of your 100-hour journey. The branching narrative system tracks every decision across this massive adventure. Your choices create a web of consequences where how you treated beggars or supported political leaders shapes the world around you in ways you won't discover until much later. These moments make each playthrough feel like your own personal story. Side quests tell complete stories that rival the main plot. Each one reveals something deeper about the characters and world. This redefined what players expect from choice-driven RPGs forever. What choice in The Witcher 3 messed you up the most? Let me know. But what happens when a developer takes the opposite approach and slows everything down to a crawl? Red Dead Redemption 2 forced the entire industry to reconsider what pacing could accomplish. Some players and critics found the pacing painfully slow on first play. The realistic horse travel, deliberate animations, time it took to do simple tasks. Rockstar made this risky choice to prioritize authenticity over player convenience. I spent hours just riding, and that time made Arthur feel real. Every action takes real time because that's how life works. The deliberate pacing forces you to experience Arthur's transformation gradually. You feel his moral conflicts during those long horseback rides through stunning landscapes. Every blade of grass moves in the wind. Animals behave like real creatures, and those small details make the eventual story hits land harder. The gang becomes your actual family through countless shared moments around the campfire. Their personal struggles become yours. Those quiet moments between the action created gaming's most emotionally devastating story beats. Sometimes the biggest creative risks come from completely reinventing what players think they know about a beloved character.
Kinda look like him. And I was told he'd be up here. No.
Sony Santa Monica did something insane. They turned Kratos into a dad, and it worked. Gaming's angriest character suddenly had a young son to protect. This decision could have destroyed the entire franchise. How do you turn a rage monster into a believable father? The Norse mythology setting creates the perfect backdrop for this transformation, with ancient gods dealing with family drama mirroring Kratos learning to connect with Atreus. That brilliant one-shot camera technique keeps you locked in their relationship. No cuts, no breaks from their journey together. Combat and quiet scenes both underscore their evolving relationship. Every puzzle serves their bond as Atreus grows stronger while Kratos learns patience. This reinvention saved God of War by creating something completely new while honoring what made the original special. But emotional storytelling in games was just getting started. The Last of Us proved games could tell stories that hit harder than most movies. You know a game hits different when you care more about a gruff smuggler and a teenage girl than most Hollywood blockbusters manage. The Infected feel unique because the concept draws on real parasitic behavior observed in nature. These aren't your typical zombies. Runners still look human and scream in pain, clickers hunt by sound with grotesque fungal growths covering their faces, and bloaters explode into toxic spore clouds. Joel and Ellie's bond grows through shared danger and quiet conversations during gameplay. Their relationship feels earned, not forced. That ending sparked endless debates about morality and sacrifice. Joel's choice divided players completely. Did Joel do the right thing? Tell me below. This proved video games could match any storytelling medium, but sometimes the most ridiculous-sounding concepts hide the most brilliant ideas. Horizon Zero Dawn takes that concept and runs with it perfectly. Robot dinosaurs taking over the world sounds like the dumbest pitch ever, until you learn why they exist. Then your mind gets completely blown. The mystery hooks you immediately. How did mechanical creatures replace all natural life? Why are humans living in primitive tribes while metal beasts roam free? Aloy rises from outcast hunter to a central figure who uncovers the truth. Her journey drives every moment of discovery as you piece the past together through ancient audio logs and crumbling facilities. Combat feels like solving puzzles with your bow. You exploit specific weak points and behaviors instead of just shooting mindlessly. Each robot has patterns to learn and strategies to master. The sci-fi story rivals the best movies, revealing its secrets slowly through environmental storytelling. This new IP instantly became PlayStation's flagship franchise. But some games don't just tell you a story, they make you question what's real.
Another to hunt a machine. You must be...
Bloodborne drops you into Wirenam thinking you're hunting werewolves in Victorian streets. Then the game pulls the rug out from under you completely. What seems like a plague of beasts transforms into something far more terrifying. The mystery deepens as you discover the truth behind the city's nightmarish transformation. The brutal difficulty punishes curiosity, but that's the point. Every death feels like punishment for uncovering forbidden knowledge. Higher insight changes what you can see, shifting the game's sensory experience. Gain too much knowledge and you start seeing things that were always there but hidden from mortal eyes. Combat rewards aggressive attacks over defensive play. You heal by striking enemies immediately after taking damage, forcing you to stay on the offensive. Which Bloodborne moment still gives you chills? Let me know below. This remains From Software's most atmospheric masterpiece, but horror isn't the only way to create an unforgettable experience. Persona 5 proves style and substance can work together perfectly. How do you make studying for exams and hanging out at coffee shops feel like the most exciting adventure ever? This game figured it out. By day you're a student, by night a phantom thief, and both sides feed each other. Those social connections aren't just fun distractions. Every friendship you build directly powers up your abilities in combat. Spending time with people makes you stronger. The phantom thief concept tackles corruption head-on. You're literally stealing the hearts of evil adults who abuse their power. I love how stylish it feels while still being deep. Every menu, every animation, every sound effect oozes personality while serving the RPG mechanics perfectly. This brought JRPGs roaring back into mainstream gaming conversations. But sometimes the best stories start by breaking every rule you thought you knew. Mass Effect 2 opens with Shepard seemingly dead, which sets up the entire sequel perfectly. You watch your hero get spaced, then spend the entire game earning back that legendary status. The suicide mission isn't just marketing hype. Your crew members can actually die permanently based on your choices throughout the game. Your loyalty decisions directly change who survives the final mission. That tension makes every decision feel life or death. Those loyalty missions are some of the best character work in any RPG, and they matter. Each one reveals deep character backstories while directly impacting who survives the final assault. Skip someone's personal quest and watch them pay the ultimate price. The combat blends third-person shooting with RPG character builds perfectly. You're customizing weapons and abilities while pulling off cinematic action sequences. Shepard became gaming's most beloved space captain by being whoever you wanted them to be. But not every memorable game world takes place among the stars.
Ashley, go. Now.
Columbia looks like paradise floating in the clouds, but this beautiful city hides America's most shameful historical sins. The gorgeous architecture masks a society built on white supremacy and religious extremism. Elizabeth's powers reshape the story and push the multiverse idea beyond a gimmick. Their relationship drives the parallel worlds concept into meaningful territory about choice, consequence, and redemption. Each dimension reveals different outcomes based on pivotal decisions. Columbia's propaganda posters and cheerful citizens conceal the brutal oppression happening in plain sight. The contrast between beauty and horror creates unsettling cognitive dissonance. That ending still sparks debate and theory videos today. What theory about Bioshock Infinite still haunts you? This proved first-person shooters could tackle heavy philosophical themes without losing their action identity. But not every game needs complex narratives to create lasting impact. Sometimes the most profound impact comes from embracing failure as your teacher. Dark Souls created an entire genre that developers still chase today. The interconnected world rewards every curious step with areas that loop back brilliantly. Death teaches you something new every single time: enemy patterns, trap locations, better strategies. You're not being punished, you're learning. There are shortcuts that feel like secrets handcrafted just for you, and you'll want to find them all. Messages from other players create community without traditional multiplayer, making you feel less alone in the darkness. I love how Get Good became gaming's ultimate philosophy about earning your victories through pure skill and persistence. This proved games could be brutally challenging and still find massive audiences, but some titles take the opposite approach and never stop giving you new things to discover. Skyrim's re-releases and massive mod scene have kept it alive for years, finding fresh audiences who discover it like buried treasure. The modding community transformed Skyrim into something Bethesda never imagined. Players created entire new worlds, questlines, and gameplay systems that keep the experience alive over a decade later. The Radiant quest system generates endless fetch quests and dragon encounters. Sometimes it works brilliantly, other times it sends you to clear the same bandit camp repeatedly. Every player becomes a stealth archer eventually. You start as a warrior or mage, but those satisfying bow kills from the shadows convert everyone. Character progression lets you become anything you want without restrictions. This remains the perfect entry point for new RPG players. What's your favorite Skyrim mod? But sometimes the most brilliant games come from the most chaotic development stories.
Carry on.
Yes, General Tullius. Give them their last.
Metal Gear Solid 5 emerged from development chaos that somehow created accidental genius. Internal conflicts and budget cuts left the story feeling incomplete, but those same constraints forced innovative gameplay solutions. Despite the messy development, the game delivers a brilliant sandbox for tactical play. Afghanistan and Africa become your playground for creative infiltration approaches. I love how every mission feels like a puzzle with a dozen different solutions. The AI systems make every encounter completely unique. Guards adapt to your strategies, communicate with each other, and set up ambushes based on your previous actions. Building Mother Base becomes part of the message about the cost of war. You're literally constructing an army while exploring themes of violence and camaraderie. This stands as proof that brilliant gameplay mechanics can overcome any behind-the-scenes controversy. But sometimes games transport you to places where history and mythology collide in the most unexpected ways. Assassin's Creed Odyssey delivers exactly that experience. Want ancient history 1 minute and mythic boss fights the next? Odyssey does both. You can have philosophical debates with Socrates in the morning and fight a mythological minotaur before lunch. Ubisoft recreated ancient Greece on an absolutely massive scale. Every island, every temple, every city-state feels authentic and lived in. The choice system finally gave players real control over their assassin's story. Your decisions shape relationships, determine quest outcomes, and change how the world reacts to you. Mythological creatures blend seamlessly with historical accuracy. You're exploring real ancient Greek locations while battling legendary monsters. Cassandra became the franchise's most beloved protagonist through her wit, strength, and emotional depth. If you like choice-driven epics, Cassandra's story is essential. This proved Assassin's Creed could evolve far beyond its original stealth formula. But recreating history is one challenge. Nailing iconic superhero mechanics is something else entirely.
My head.
Insomniac finally cracked the code that every previous Spider-Man game missed. Every Spider-Man game before this one got web swinging wrong somehow. The physics felt off, the momentum never clicked, or you bounced around like a pinball. Insomniac finally nailed the one thing that makes you feel like Spider-Man. New York City becomes your personal playground from a web-slinger's perspective. Every skyscraper offers new swing points and creative routes through the urban jungle. I still grin mid-swing when I nail a perfect arc between buildings. The combat captures Spidey's acrobatic fighting style perfectly. You're bouncing off walls, web-zipping between enemies, and chaining together gadgets with signature agility. Peter Parker's personal struggles drive every superhero moment. His relationships and responsibilities make the action feel meaningful. Suit customization and photo mode became player obsessions that deepened your connection to the hero. Which Spidey suit is your favorite? Tell us below. This set the new standard for superhero games. But mastering one culture's hero is different from respectfully capturing another culture's entire way of life.
Somebody just shoot him!
Ghost of Tsushima proves Western developers can honor another culture's traditions with absolute authenticity and respect. Sucker Punch Studios created something that seemed impossible. Jin Sakai faces an impossible choice between traditional honor and brutal survival tactics. His internal struggle becomes your emotional journey as the Mongol invasion forces desperate decisions. Every frame looks like a living painting straight from Japanese art galleries. The sword combat makes you feel like a master samurai through precise timing and elegant movements. Each duel becomes a deadly dance of steel and strategy. The wind guides you naturally toward objectives without cluttering the screen with UI elements. When was the last game that made you want to wander? Following nature's flow became gaming's most elegant navigation system. This proved that cultural respect and authentic research can create something absolutely beautiful. But some developers take the opposite approach and throw out every established rule completely. Sekiro represents From Software's boldest experiment, a rhythm game disguised as a samurai action game. No shields, no heavy armor, no defensive strategies that actually work. The posture system flips everything upside down. Breaking enemy posture becomes more important than dealing raw damage. You win by staying aggressive and deflecting attacks perfectly. Learning those parry timings feels like mastering a complex musical piece. Each enemy has their own rhythm and attack patterns. When you finally nail the timing, combat flows like a deadly dance. The resurrection mechanic changes your entire approach. You can take bigger risks knowing you have a second chance during tough fights. Would you rather parry or dodge? Let me know below. This represents skill-based combat design at its absolute peak. But sometimes the most unsettling experiences come from the most ordinary places. Control proves that the most unsettling horror comes from familiar spaces turned wrong. I loved how a drab office becomes genuinely creepy through copy machines and fluorescent lights that generate real dread. The Federal Bureau of Control investigates paranormal phenomena from inside a brutalist government building. Their mission involves containing supernatural threats that defy explanation. Jessie Faden arrives searching for her missing brother, but gets thrown into complete chaos. Her confusion mirrors your own as reality breaks down around every corner. The oldest house shifts and changes like a living entity. Rooms rearrange themselves, hallways stretch impossibly long, and elevators transport you to dimensions that shouldn't exist. Your telekinetic powers feel natural within this twisted environment. Hurling concrete chunks and controlling enemy minds makes perfect sense here. When did an office building ever feel scarier than a mansion? But not every game aims to please everyone equally. Death Stranding represents Kojima's most polarizing experiment. Few games divided players like Death Stranding did. Players either called it a masterpiece or boring walking simulator trash. Kojima was experimenting with connection themes in our disconnected world. What looked like tedious delivery gameplay actually served deeper purposes about rebuilding human bonds. The walking simulator elements force you to experience isolation firsthand. Every step across barren landscapes makes you feel the weight of loneliness that defines this world. Players leaving ladders and bridges is the core example of asynchronous cooperation. The Strand system creates genuine cooperation between strangers without expecting anything back. The bizarre story about invisible creatures and crying babies somehow makes perfect sense within its own twisted logic. Being divisive doesn't diminish artistic achievement. Keep watching because later I'll point out which divisive games actually aged best. But some games face even bigger challenges than polarized opinions. Cyberpunk 2077 launched as gaming's biggest disaster and somehow transformed into one of the biggest comeback stories in recent gaming. The broken promises and unplayable launch made it industry poison. The massive updates completely rebuilt the AI systems, fixed the broken physics, and added features that should have existed from day one. Night City finally feels like a real place where people live and work. The character progression lets you become a netrunner, street samurai, or corporate operative through meaningful skill choices. Each build changes how you approach every situation. After patches and Phantom Liberty, many players found the story and quests much improved. Side missions tell personal stories that hit harder than most games' main campaigns. Did you give Night City a second chance? This proves even the worst launches can become masterpieces with dedication. But fixing broken games is one challenge. Creating meaningful exploration from scratch is something else entirely. Elden Ring solved this challenge by making every discovery feel earned and significant. Every open-world game struggles with the same problem. How do you make exploration feel meaningful instead of just checking boxes on a map? Elden Ring cracked the code completely. From Software teamed up with George R.R. Martin to create The Lands Between, and that collaboration shaped the world's twisted mythology and character backstories. Elden Ring constantly rewards curiosity. You won't believe what a side path can hide. Every route leads to hidden bosses, secret areas, or powerful items that actually change how you play. I love how the world encourages exploration without hand-holding. Spirit summons let new players experience the challenge without hitting impossible walls. You get help without compromising the signature difficulty. The boss design reaches new heights with encounters that feel like epic fantasy battles brought to life. This became the most successful Souls game by never abandoning what made the series special. But mastering fantasy worlds is different from nailing iconic characters with very specific expectations. Rocksteady Studios faced exactly that challenge with Batman Arkham City. Batman games always struggled with one huge problem. How do you make players feel like the Dark Knight when he doesn't have actual superpowers? Arkham City cracked that code perfectly. Arkham City turns Gotham into a massive open-air prison where criminals run wild. The political implications create this twisted social experiment that questions justice and punishment. The free-flow combat system lets you chain together attacks, counters, and gadgets in one fluid motion. Detective mode makes you analyze crime scenes like the world's greatest detective. The Rogues Gallery gets their best video game treatment ever. When's the last time a game's gadgets made you feel smart? Every tool serves both combat and investigation perfectly. This helped define the modern superhero game template. But creating complex character systems is one thing. Building entire worlds where every choice ripples through interconnected systems is something else entirely.
To Arkham City and make Gotham safe again. Remember,
Fallout New Vegas proves what happens when developers focus on player choice above everything else. Obsidian had a tight timeline, about 18 months, and still delivered deep systems that put longer developments to shame. The faction system makes every choice ripple through the entire wasteland. You can support the NCR's expansion, join Caesar's brutal legion, or forge your own independent path. Each faction offers completely different quests and story outcomes. The Mojave tells stories through crumbling billboards and abandoned gas stations. Every location reveals pieces of pre-war life and post-nuclear survival. Your reputation with each group changes how they treat you. Help one faction and others become hostile. The DLC expansions tell some of gaming's best stories while expanding your choices even further. Who did you side with in New Vegas? This represents the absolute peak of player-driven RPG design. But giving players total freedom is one approach. Some games prefer handing you the perfect toolkit instead.
seems right to you.
Dishonored 2 hands you the ultimate creative toolkit and says figure it out yourself. Most games give you one or two ways to complete each mission. Emily manipulates shadows and links enemies together while Corvo stops time and teleports through spaces. Each protagonist transforms every situation into a different puzzle. The levels stretch vertically like massive puzzle boxes. You can go through windows, underfloors, or across rooftops. Each path offers unique challenges and rewards. Your playstyle shapes the entire world through the chaos system. Kill everyone and watch the city descend into darkness. Spare lives and see hope flourish. The Clockwork Mansion transforms around you like a mechanical nightmare, proving how environmental creativity can enhance player choice. I love how this rewards creative playstyles over brute force approaches. This proved immersive sims could evolve and stay relevant, but many developers thought this entire genre was finished.
What was that?
Not feeling.
Arcane Studios took that challenge head-on with Prey. You wake up on Talosai Space Station with no memory and discover the crew has vanished while alien creatures roam the halls. The Typhon aliens aren't just monsters to shoot, they represent evolution itself, adapting and mimicking everything they encounter. You're not just fighting them, you're studying their abilities. Neuromods let you absorb alien abilities and literally become what you're fighting. Transform into coffee cups to hide or gain telepathic powers to control minds. Every upgrade changes how you approach problems. Every room tells stories through environmental details and audio logs scattered throughout the station. The mystery unfolds through exploration, not cutscenes. Did you go stealth or go full alien? This proves smart players still crave thinking person's shooters. But some games push storytelling even further by making you experience the same story multiple times.
Here we go. For this test, please press the blue button across the room as quickly as you can.
NieR Automata takes that concept to its absolute limit. Most games tell you their story once and call it done. This makes you play through 3 different routes to understand what actually happened to these androids fighting for humanity's survival. What does it mean to be conscious? Can machines feel pain, love, or despair? The game throws these questions at you, while 2B and 9S discover uncomfortable truths about their existence. Their relationship evolves completely across each playthrough. What starts as professional duty becomes something deeper and more tragic as you uncover their shared history. The gameplay shifts between bullet hell shooting, hack-and-slash combat, and platforming puzzles, with each genre change reflecting the character's emotional states perfectly. This game left me stunned by its emotional ambition. Notably, a final ending sequence asked players to sacrifice their save data to help strangers complete the game in a collective way. This elevated video game storytelling into pure art, but emotional manipulation is just one way games can get under your skin. Subnautica proves that terror doesn't need jump scares or monsters in dark hallways. This game makes the entire ocean your enemy without showing you a single traditional scary creature. You crash land on an alien water world with nothing but basic survival gear. Every breath of oxygen becomes precious when you're hundreds of meters underwater with no way to surface quickly. Every dive feels like walking into the unknown, and that's the hook. Building underwater bases creates these little pockets of safety in an endless hostile environment. Your habitat becomes psychological refuge against the crushing depths surrounding you. Abandoned research stations reveal the tragic fate of previous survivors through scattered audio logs and environmental clues. Exploring deeper waters requires genuine courage as bioluminescent predators lurk in the darkness below. This proves survival games hit hardest when they exploit our deepest evolutionary fears. But fear isn't the only way small teams can create something extraordinary. Team Cherry proved that artistic vision matters more than budget size. 3 developers built this masterpiece that rivals anything from major studios. Hollownest hides tragic secrets in every crumbling corner. The kingdom's mysterious history unfolds through cryptic environmental details that reward curious exploration. Shortcuts and secrets feel like earned treasures as you uncover the world's ancient mysteries. The interconnected world design makes every discovery feel like solving an ancient puzzle. Areas loop back on themselves in brilliant ways that reward your memory and spatial awareness. Combat demands precision and pattern recognition. Every boss victory feels absolutely earned through skill development rather than luck. Hand-drawn art combines with melancholy piano themes that hit way harder than they should. The atmosphere creates something sad, beautiful, and mysterious. Hollow Knight fans, drop your favorite boss below. This proves indie developers can achieve absolute artistic perfection, but technical mastery is just one way to create something that feels magical. Orgy and the Will of the Wisps transforms movement itself into pure art. Every frame looks like a Disney animated movie brought to life through gameplay. I kept pausing just to watch the visuals unfold. Orgy's quest to heal the dying forest becomes deeply personal as this little spirit guardian searches for belonging while racing against time to save everything precious. Movement feels like choreographed dancing across gorgeous landscapes. You glide between platforms with fluid grace that makes traversal pure joy instead of challenge. Each new ability transforms how you navigate the world completely, unlocking previously unreachable areas and creating fresh movement possibilities. Boss encounters blend intense difficulty with breathtaking visual spectacle. These aren't just fights, but emotional crescendos that feel like interactive movie climaxes. Which ability changed how you played most? This represents platforming perfection through artistic achievement. But beauty isn't the only way to create unforgettable experiences. A Plague Tale: Innocence proves that sometimes the smallest threats create the biggest scares. Rats become the game's most unsettling threat as thousands swarm through medieval streets like living darkness that devours everything in their path. Amisha faces an impossible task, protecting her sick brother Hugo while escaping the Inquisition and surviving the plague. She's just a teenager carrying the weight of keeping her family alive. The Black Death setting creates authentic historical horror mixed with supernatural elements. Stealth and protection mechanics constantly reinforce Amisha's vulnerability. You're hiding from armored soldiers because direct confrontation means certain death for these children. Every gameplay decision serves their sibling relationship. Amisha's protective instincts drive combat, puzzle solving, and story choices. This is not cheap jump scare horror, it's sweaty palms, keep your brother safe horror. But some games approach tragedy from an entirely different angle. What Remains of Edith Finch transforms family tragedy into beautiful poetry when you step inside the Finch house. Each room holds the story of a family member's death, told through their own eyes and unique gameplay mechanics. The Finch family carries a curse that claims each generation in mysterious ways. Every death feels both inevitable and shocking as you experience their final moments firsthand. Each family member's story uses completely different gameplay styles. You become a baby in a bathtub, a factory worker on an assembly line, a child pretending to be a monster. The mechanics serve the emotional storytelling perfectly. It treats death like a story, not just an ending. The house itself breathes with memory and loss, as rooms sealed off after deaths become shrines to the departed. Which Finch story stuck with you the most? This redefined interactive storytelling by proving games could handle the most profound human experiences. But sometimes the most powerful connections happen between just two voices. Firewatch proves that intimate conversation can create more tension than any action sequence. Two people talking on radios shouldn't be more gripping than explosive scenes, but this game pulls it off perfectly. Henry escapes to the Wyoming wilderness after his wife's early onset dementia destroys their marriage. His only human contact comes through radio conversations with supervisor Delilah, stationed at another tower miles away. Their relationship builds entirely through brilliant voice acting and natural dialogue. I found Delilah as vivid as any on-screen character despite never seeing her. She becomes completely real through these intimate radio chats. The stunning wilderness contrasts sharply with Henry's internal emotional chaos. Beautiful sunsets and pristine lakes can't heal his broken heart. The conspiracy mystery serves the character development rather than overwhelming it. If you loved Firewatch's writing, drop a line for other players. This proves games can focus on human connection above everything else. But what happens when that connection forms without any words at all?
Hello, 2-4.
Journey creates that connection through pure visual poetry and shared movement. Two strangers meet in an endless desert without exchanging a single word, yet their bond feels deeper than most games achieve with hours of dialogue. The mysterious landscape stretches endlessly toward a glowing mountain peak. Ancient ruins and flowing fabric banners hint at a lost civilization that once thrived here. Anonymous players join your journey at random moments. You communicate purely through musical chimes and shared movement. Two strangers help each other climb without words. It's oddly moving. Simple walking and jumping mechanics become a rich language of cooperation as you solve environmental puzzles together. The pilgrimage to the mountain mirrors life's spiritual journey from birth to transcendence. Have you ever connected with a stranger in a game like that? But some games create even deeper emotional impact through complete silence. Inside proves that minimalism can create maximum impact. This game creates more tension through empty hallways and distant machinery than most titles achieve with hours of conversation. You control a boy moving through a brutal dystopian world, but his purpose remains completely mysterious. The oppressive atmosphere builds dread with every step forward. Each puzzle integrates perfectly with the dark story being told around you. Environmental details reveal the world's horrifying truth without exposition or cutscenes. Every animation and sound effect carries emotional weight. The boy's movements show fear, determination, and vulnerability through pure visual storytelling. Its ending sparks endless debate. I still replay that final sequence just to try and unpack it. What did you think it meant? This represents the ultimate evolution of cinematic platformers through pure artistic expression. But some games use that same precision to explore something completely different. Celeste transforms platform jumping into something deeply personal. How do you turn climbing a mountain into therapy? This game uses every death and retry to mirror the real struggle of managing anxiety and depression. Madeline climbs this impossible mountain while battling crushing self-doubt and panic attacks. Celeste tests you, but assist modes let anyone reach the story. The mountain becomes a perfect metaphor for personal growth, where every section conquered represents overcoming another mental obstacle. Battlein represents that destructive inner voice we all fight. Their confrontation shows how accepting your darker thoughts creates healing instead of suppression. The higher you climb, the more Madeline learns about herself through gameplay that never feels separate from the emotional journey. Let me know if you used assist mode. There's no shame in getting help. This proves gameplay mechanics can explore serious mental health themes with genuine respect. But what happens when failure becomes the entire point of the experience? Supergiant Games found the perfect answer with Hades. Most games punish you for dying, but Hades makes every death feel like you're getting closer to your goal of escaping the underworld. Zagreus keeps trying to break free from his father Hades, but each failed attempt reveals more about their broken family relationship. Every death felt like progress, not punishment. The story unfolds through these repeated escape runs. The roguelike structure serves the family drama perfectly. Every conversation adds new layers to the dysfunction between gods who've been feuding for centuries. Each run unlocks fresh dialogue and character development as NPCs remember your previous conversations. The combat system makes every weapon feel completely unique, with swords, bows, and shields each changing your entire playstyle. Which god's boon is your go-to? This perfected narrative-driven roguelikes forever. But some games abandon traditional mechanics entirely to create something completely different. Disco Elysium proves conversations can create more tension than any combat system. Most RPGs throw fireballs and sword fights at you, but this game makes every dialogue choice feel life or death. You play a detective investigating a murder, but the real mystery is piecing together your own shattered identity. Your character's thoughts become actual voices in your head as logic argues with empathy while your gut instincts shout warnings. The skill system transforms dialogue completely, where High Encyclopedia turns you into a walking textbook, while Max Drama makes you speak like Shakespeare. Every build creates totally different conversation options. I haven't seen writing like this in any other RPG. Political themes weave naturally through the story without feeling forced or preachy. Did Disco Elysium change how you think about role-playing? This shattered every boundary of what RPGs could become. But some games take that boundary breaking even further by questioning the very nature of choice itself.
I'll die before I squeal.
The Stanley Parable takes that concept and turns it into an elaborate prank on the player. You play as Stanley navigating an office building while a narrator tells you exactly what to do. The narrator becomes your passive-aggressive gaming nemesis. He desperately wants you to follow his script, but you can rebel at every turn, creating the most dysfunctional relationship in gaming history. Every choice leads to a different mocking ending. Go ahead and rebel. The game tears apart linear storytelling, player agency, and the illusion of meaningful choice through increasingly absurd scenarios. That mundane office becomes a philosophical prison where cubicles and conference rooms transform into questions about control and rebellion. Every replay shows new narrator reactions and hidden commentary about interactive entertainment itself. Which ending broke your brain? This proves games can question their own existence while entertaining you. But looking back at everything we've covered, some patterns emerge about which titles face the harshest criticism.
Of wild expeditions into the unknown.
Remember the divisive launches and initial backlash we mentioned? Wind Waker, Death Stranding, and Cyberpunk all sparked huge debates at launch. But here's the thing, Death Stranding became something many now rate as prophetic. Kojima's bizarre walking simulator about connection arrived right before a global pandemic forced us into isolation. Suddenly, his themes about rebuilding human bonds felt absolutely essential. The point here, a rough start doesn't mean a game can't redefine the medium. Sometimes, understanding comes later. Game criticism evolves. What seems weird today might be tomorrow's breakthrough. Let me know in the comments which of these you've played and which surprised you most. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more deep lists.